Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Still Standing Podcast. I am your host, Dead Action Jones, the king of pajama pants and apparently Italian Spongebob, but more on that later. Joining me today is none other than cynicism brought to life in human form, Joe Zombie. Together we form Still Standing, a celebration of life, gaming, and the fact that we are all still here. How are you doing today, sir?
I am delightful, and I, for one, am ready for a mustache ride.
Anyway, how are you? I've asked you. You said you're good. I'm asking again because I want you to reiterate upon it, sir. How's your week been? How's it been? I know there's been a ton of crap that's come out. It has been so many games, literally all of the games.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been busy just playing all the stuff. Well, I would say all the stuff. The two major things that came out this past week, which would of course be Witch Queen and Elden Ring, which definitely seem to be taking up, I don't know, most people's lives, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. It's like, oh man, like everybody is just like, I'm playing Elden Ring this, Elden Ring that, Elden Ring. I want to do this so I want to stop doing this so I can go play more Elden Ring. And I'm like, man, Elden Ring is so good. You're right. But have you tried this Witch Queen? Because I want to go do a couple more bounties. I want to get a little more rep, do a couple more public events. The Throne World's calling me. I gotta go.
Yeah, for me, Witch Queen has basically, now that I've actually completed the campaign, it's been my rage quit game. When I'm in Elden Ring and I'm in like a spot and I just keep getting murdered, I'm like, you know what I could do? I'm going to go play my superhero and I'm going to go shoot stuff because it can't hurt me.
Yeah.
Not like Elden Ring can. Elden Ring is just, it will hurt you, but it only hurts you because it loves you and it wants you to be better.
That game is incredible. I cannot tell whether or not the bosses scale to your level, though. I don't think the side ones do, because I've walked in like two-shot bosses. But I think that the main bosses might actually scale to your level, because I leveled up a bunch thinking I would level over the one, like that first boss. It's like really, really hard, and it was always barely scraping by.
No,
it wasn't. I
don't think you'll ever be able to overlap. Well, maybe it reaches a point. Maybe it's got a cap. I don't know. I haven't been that far. But at this current juncture, I'm pretty sure it probably scales at least to a certain point, to where, they want it to be challenging. They want that thing to always be where you're having to improve. And so, because if you just run in and you go whack, whack, and the boss dies, where there's no real feeling of accomplishment there.
I mean, you say that, but I will say that it is very satisfying to walk into a room and hit a boss once with a sword that's bigger than you and watch them die, because it makes you feel like you have really put in that. You're like, oh, I'm Vegeta in the gravity room. Let's go.
Yes and no, because I can technically go and do that just by going and like farming the giants, or I'm sure there are a bunch of areas you can just go in and farm runes. I'm sure there's 18 million YouTube videos about, hey, here's how you get super OP in the first 10 minutes of Elden Ring.
I'm sure. I have actually been putting, I need to put like, I think 15 more points into dexterity and 5 more points into strength.
Only 15?
Yeah, before I can use the weapon that I just unlocked from beating a certain boss. I really want to use it. It looks amazing, but I can't use it until all that. But also, my endurance is so low that for me to...
When you swing it uses your whole bar of stamina?
No, it's not even that. It's the fact that my weapon is so heavy that I literally cannot wear gloves or a helmet, because the chest piece and the shoes and the weapon fill up my entire bar. I cannot do anything else.
At the very least, you'll be able to use your horse, because your equip load isn't affected when you're on horseback. You can wear whatever you want. It doesn't matter.
I think your stamina goes down faster when you're still, because when you're on your horse, if you can't wield a weapon properly one-handed, then it is messed up on the horse, because it forces you to swing one-handed on the back of the horse. So I'm swinging this giant berserk sword before I had the stats for it. I can swing it two-handed on foot, but on the horse, you're literally just like dragging it and flinging it at the person, and it doesn't quite work as well. But
This is why I like using my katana.
oh
I gotta
my
worry about it.
god! Aside from the two of the biggest gaming things that have happened, I mean, there's also been Horizon. There's also been like the dust hasn't even settled on Dying Light 2. Like,
Well,
like
I
all this
would
stuff.
I would be more apt to say that about Horizon Forbidden West than I would Dying Light 2.
I mean, I'm just saying that it's still a hot commodity game. Like, there's still people still like. Just because I blazed through it because I was like, I love this story, I'm gonna play it, go do. Just because I did that doesn't mean that everybody
had
did.
opposite trips with that particular go
It's true.
round.
It's true.
We're like, this is amazing. Have you done it? And I'm like, yeah, I did. I didn't want to, but I did.
Yeah, you're like, I just wanted to get through with it to see it to the end, and I'm like, I want to do it again. So I beat it and then started with the other faction because I wanted to do all the side stuff. Because I was like, wow, the survivor unlocks are terrible. I don't like any of them. They're not useful. But the story's interesting. But the peacekeepers seem really good, and a lot of these choices are actually very interesting. So I think I would rather go do all the side stuff on a save that I actually care about. But we'll get to what all we have played in the week in a moment. Has anything transpired of note that has maybe not been gaming related? I can tell the story of why I referred to myself as Italian Spongebob earlier.
Yeah, we can start with that, and then I can start. I mean, I could go over my trek from Alabama to Washington if we want to go there,
Sure.
and then all the way back. But yeah, let's start with Italian SpongeBob because at least my trip to Washington wasn't talked about in the intro.
Yeah. So I went grocery shopping the other day with my partner, and we were at the register, and I was wearing this shirt. Actually, I wore this shirt so I could mention this story. The person who was bagging at the cash register was like, your shirt reminds me of SpongeBob. And I was like, I guess maybe it's the pineapple because he lives in one, or maybe it's like I think you can see a little more of it. It's like maybe it's because it's if you're on the video version, sorry, it's just a bunch of if you're listening to the audio version, it's just a bunch of sliced fruit on a shirt, on a blue shirt. But I guess I could see
pineapples are one of the prominent fruits on the shirt.
Right. I guess I could see how it would be. Maybe the pineapple would remind him of SpongeBob, but I thought maybe it was like the 2 hours later screens where it's like all the crazy colors and stuff in the background. I thought maybe he was talking about that because it does kind of look like that. But I was like, sure, yeah, all right, you're a weird teenager. That's fine. You do your thing. I get it. And then
also the Publix bagger is making a lot of assumptions with what you're okay with being told.
Yes, and then the legally distinct worker at said grocery store said there was a little girl who was working the cash register behind them, and she said, he's kind of like Italian SpongeBob because he's wearing a flat cap and he's got a big mustache, and she just kind of trailed off, and everybody else that was working with her was just kind of like nodding, like, yeah.
Yes, Italian SpongeBob.
Sure. Okay.
The evidence does support this.
And I just kind of looked at her and went, yeah, okay. Like, I just did the same thing, just like, weird. All right. Thank you. Maybe. I don't know.
The kind of things that you usually respond to these types of conversations in public.
Yes. And then as I walked out of the grocery store, I looked at my partner and told her what had transpired that she did not hear. And she's like, hey, look at me, I'm a SpongeBob over here. I'm like, hey, I live in a pineapple at the bottom of the sea. Yeah, everyone probably thought we were like tripping across. Oh, they probably thought we were super high. They're like, oh, edibles in the house. I get it. You kids live your life. It's fine. I believe in it. Free love. Yeah.
Quarantine's affected all of us differently. That's all I'll say.
Absolutely. Let's hear. That has pretty much been my week. Has been Witch Queen and becoming apparently Italian cleaning utensils. So let's hear about your trip because it's probably nowhere near as weird as that.
Oh, not necessarily. No, it probably isn't. It was fairly run of the mill, I guess. I mean, we saw some interesting things here and there. Almost got run off the road by a semi on a winding mountain pass, but that's just the kind of standard things you try to deal with in a road trip to Washington State. But basically, my partner had to move to Washington for a few months for work. So of course, Washington isn't exactly known for their robust public transportation system out in the sticks where she's currently having to stay.
It's true. It's true.
So we had to take her car, which, by the way, is about, I don't know, 6 feet too short for a man my size. So, so I was
I
jammed into
understand.
it was jammed into this clown car with like no leg room the entire time. And there are a few events here and there. Like the first night we were traveling, started off with her vomiting an entire pizza. And I'm not kidding. She literally vomited an entire pizza all over the passenger seat where I was going to be spending most of my time because I was doing the honor of driving for a little while.
I don't want
so
that.
I mean, I got to visit. We got to go to some weird places. We went off to a bit off the beaten path because we were taking a little bit of our time.
Sure.
Because we had a little bit of time to get up there. Like we went to the world's largest drugstore. It's where I got this cool shirt of Sasquatch leading a unicorn and a jackalope by a leash.
Sure.
Because that's generally the kind of thing a drugstore would sell.
Is it? I have.
The world's largest drugstore, absolutely. And apparently jackalopes are a huge marketing thing in that particular area of the world, I suppose. Oh yeah, this place has like
Weird.
well, during the not winter months, has like a giant jackalope you can ride and take pictures with. Like they have a ton of jackalope merchandise. You can get like a stuffed jackalope head to put on your wall.
Well, I just want that to have anyway. Just mount it over here in my nebulous zone, just like it's like no one will get. That's a reference for people who are dead. No one will get that. No one will ever get.
That's what we call dating yourself.
That is called carbon dating yourself because it is so old. That was was it America's Funniest Home Videos from like a billion years ago? It was like Dave Coulier was on there with Bob Saget doing the jackalope puppet voice, which as a kid I loved, and I tried to look them up recently and could not find them, but I found like a fragment of one that like someone had like clearly uploaded from like it was like taped over a family memory, because that's just what we used to do, was just go, hey, put it in there, tape over the porno, it's fine, it's Scooby-Doo and the Ghost Brothers, let's go. It's like, cool, yeah, all right. Okay, so I mentioned that because random thought, when I was in school, Scooby-Doo and the Boo Brothers, we were watching that in 7th grade algebra, and someone had literally taped over that with hardcore porn. So it got to the third act of the movie, and then it got to the third act of the movie, and then it got to the third act, if you know what I'm saying. The teacher, who was about 4 foot tall, then had to scuttle up to the front of the room and try to do this to block, like in the mode, to like block the TV while she's trying to block with her tiny hands because she's so short, and she's also trying to reach back here and turn. Yeah, absolutely. And it's the one you wheel in, so like someone definitely brought that and donated it to the library, and they did not check it at all. You just like
push over the cart and hope it breaks the TV.
Yeah. You just undo the strap. You just undo the strap, unplug, and just shove it out in the hall. Just I don't want this at all. So that was fun.
So we drove up there, and I had to fly back, and apparently. And I'm going to say this on this podcast, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite me, because I don't know what kind of who knows? But I'm pretty sure Seattle is an entire city of vampires, because there's a grand total of 3 flights that leave out during the daylight hours. They all leave out in the morning before the sun comes up, or you're flying at midnight. There's no in between. And also, they only want to take you out of Seattle and leave you somewhere else. They want you to spend 18 hours in Newark or 17 hours in Chicago. And I'm not joking. Almost every flight that was leaving out there was either an 18-hour flight or a 24-hour flight. By the way, that is a 4-hour flight.
Yeah.
You are in the air for 4 hours. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, this will be 23. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to do any of that.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll come in, maybe the weird vampire mafias of Seattle will come and murder me now that I've unveiled the truth to you all.
We want to wipe you out. You're telling our secrets to everybody.
But I was like talking to a partner. I'm like, it's like they don't want you to be seen in the day, and they want you to take you somewhere else and leave you there.
I have been told my entire life that Seattle is the rainy city, and it is so rainy. When we went up there for my partner's little brother's wedding, it was during that moment where it was like record heat index, where it was like 130 degrees up there the entire time we're up there, and they don't have air conditioning because most of the time they don't need it. And so I'm up there literally just like, because I'm from Alabama. We have humidity and we need air conditioner constantly. And so I go out to Washington, Tatooine, and there are literally I have pictures I took. I literally said, what are these vapor farm things from Tatooine doing? Farms. Yeah, what is this doing here? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about? There's 3 moons. There's so many moons. There's so many suns. Everything's crazy here. What are you doing? And I'm like, I thought it rained all the time. And it's a desert. Literally where she's from is a desert, which blew my mind because I'm like, it's raining all the time. Even when you go into the airport, it's like, the rainy city. And there's all these buttons and magnets you can get. It's talking about how much it rains.
I was there for 2 days and it rained both of those days.
But it did not rain at all the entire time I was there, and it was 130 degrees, and I was just like,
yeah, no, it rained one of the days I was there. It rained the last day, like as I was leaving out. It's like, hey, how about we greet you with some rain that you came to expect? It's like, dope.
Yeah, no, I didn't get that. I got 130 degrees and heat stroke.
Also, I don't think you've ever visited St. Louis, but I have a personal bone to pick with anyone from St. Louis. Okay, and
you have no bone to pick.
I'm going to look straight at you. Anybody from St. Louis? All right, I'm gonna tell you right now. St. Louis pizza is shit. It sucks, and I hate it. You use your fucking, because apparently it's this.
What happened? Is it what? Who hurt you in St. Louis? Did they?
Well, first off, I had to smell what St. Louis pizza smells like coming up and all over the dashboard. So that will never leave my brain.
That'll do it.
But first off, I get maybe people like it, whatever, it's fine. You can like what you like. I don't think people need to make a big deal of it like they do there. But St. Louis pizza is apparently a special pizza that I'm glad only exists in St. Louis.
What is special about it? I still don't understand.
They use this god awful cheese called Provel cheese instead of mozzarella. Okay, and apparently
it just sounds like it smells like a shoe.
It is not. Needless to say, I wasn't impressed by Provel because, and I'm not kidding. It tastes like the spray canned American cheese. And basically, if you want that spread on a pizza, that's Provel cheese.
So it's Cheese Whiz, but you crumble it?
No, the actual cheese is it's actual cheese. I'm saying it tastes like canned, like the spray cheese, not like Cheese Whiz.
That's what, yeah, the easy cheese.
Yes, it tastes like that, and I do not want a whole pizza with that taste. It's not. I will take my mozzarella. I will never ever complain about a cheese pizza ever again. I would rather have Totino's.
I would try it. I might not like it, but I would try it.
I gave it its time in court. I am not a fan. I get that a lot of people are fans, especially in that area.
Sure.
But because it's just like, because that's where my partner loves it. She's just like, I remember we went to a restaurant and they had something with Provel on it, and she's like, oh my god, you never see this out of St. Louis, and now I know why.
Talking about pizza just reminds me, this is a hot take. One, if you like, everybody always talks about the pineapple thing. I like pineapple on pizza. I'm not saying you have to. It's whatever. I like that, but that's not my thing. My hot take is that a barbecue or white sauce pizza is so much better than pretty much any red sauce pizza in this day and age. I get nothing but torment and heartburn from eating red sauce pizza, and I can eat a barbecue sauce pizza. It's not taboo. It's fine. Whatever. You can get it literally anywhere. It tastes delicious, and I don't get just ridiculous heartburn. And if you get the white sauce, it's almost like you're eating a bread bowl. I like both of those things.
I'm not. It depends on what's on the pizza, but I'm usually just like, give me a red sauce because I don't really deal with a lot. I don't. There are pizza places that give me heartburn, but I don't get heartburn from any red sauce.
I do. I literally
Mm.
made ravioli the other night, and I woke up the next morning and thought my throat had melted through. It was rough, and that was after having taken medicine for that, and it was still like, nah, the red sauce just fucked you up, Jack. Sorry. I was like, oof.
Yeah.
That was
I
rough.
had to take a sip after my Provel cheese rat, which
I get it.
Again, you St. Louis, you can keep it. It can be say,
I understand. Say no more. I totally get it. In other news, something that's a little happier, they announced a new generation of Pokemon, and I'm very excited.
I can't say that I'm particularly stoked about it.
I am.
And to be honest, I haven't actually beaten a Pokemon game in probably like 4 generations now.
Sure.
I never beat X and Y. I never beat Black and White. I never beat Sword and Shield. I keep buying these games thinking this will be the one, but for whatever reason, I get through some of it and then I go, yeah, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, I will say this: Pokemon Arceus, as we've covered in our video content and stuff, is an incredible game. It plays.
You want to talk about what Seattle should have been?
It plays fantastically. It is not battle focused, it is research focused, and so there's options. You can do battle, you can do research, whatever. That game is great. The reason that I like the Diamond and Pearl remake so much is because it has most of the Pokemon on it. And I know we're kind of burying the lead talking about this and not going back to the Gen 9, which we will circle back to. But the thing that kills me is that they said they weren't doing national decks in Sword and Shield because they said they needed to make. They were like, if we have fewer Pokemon, then we will have better and more diverse animations for everybody. And I don't care about the animations at this point anymore. I personally would rather have every Pokemon be available so everyone gets their favorites and they just scoot back and forth or bounce up and down as attacks or shoot fireballs than what we got, which was you don't get all the Pokemon and they still do that. I would like, but here's the thing that kills me is they said that they weren't going to put them all, the national decks in Sword and Shield because of that. They're like, oh, you get more diverse things. It's like, whatever. But then they bring out the Diamond and Pearl remake where they have the same models. They're full in, when you're in battle, it's a full-fledged Pokemon model. It's not just chibi. Plus they made models for them to follow behind you when you're outside of a battle. And there are like 4 times more Pokemon in that remake than there are in any other recent game. And here's the thing that kills me. All these games are on the Switch. If you have made the models and the animations once, you have invested in them, reuse them on everything. You've already made the Pokemon. Put them in everything. You've already done it. You make more money than Gatsby on these damn games. Put all the Pokemon in. It's insane to me. It's so crazy. The one cool thing from that trailer is that they have literally explicitly announced that, oh, well, we sent out Arceus to die, but it sold a bajillion copies. So the next one we've already decided is going to be an open world game, and it's going to be good. It's going to be great. And the textures
definitely feels like, based on this new announcement with this new Pokemon game, like Arceus was apparently meant to fail, or at least they were super hedging their bets for what's it called, Violet and what's the other ones? Violet and what?
Violet and Scarlet.
Is it
Scarlet?
Okay. Yeah, Violet and Scarlet. And they were like, well, their odds are they're going to hate that. If they hate it, we'll never do it again.
And
but we'll have this one waiting in the wings. And now everyone's just like, why do you keep making? We want Arceus. Give us that.
Like,
why do you keep making these other
give
ones?
me Arceus with every single Pokemon in it, you bastards, please. I want that. And so, less than a month after that game has come out, they're already like, we've got another one on the way. It's the next gen. We learned from Arceus, and it's coming in 2022. That's going to get delayed to 2023 because it's Nintendo, and they don't ever release anything on time. But I am excited about it. And
get my mic stand.
Oh, you're good. The 3 starters, normally I am Team Grass, But I gotta say, the weed cat, as the internet has called it, is not doing it for me. Sprigatito, the little kitty cat, it does. You said it looked like a Neopet, and now I can't unsee it.
They all look like Neopets to me.
The other ones actually look like Pokemon to me, but Sprigatito, I could literally see eating from that giant omelet. Boy, that's another carbon dating reference right there. Most people are not going to know what that means, but grab you a piece of that giant omelet. Grab you a piece of that giant omelet and feed your Neopet so it doesn't starve.
Oh my God. You want us to talk about Tamagotchis next? Does one of them look like that?
Oh, yeah, I guess that Fue Coco, the little chili pepper guy, does kind of look like a Tamagotchi if you squint. I don't know. Normally,
again, the game might be amazing. I know a lot of the mechanics of Sword and Shield were really cool. I loved how they did the gym battles and stuff like that.
I thought the wild areas were very fun. The DLC was. I spent more time in the DLC than I did in the base game. The moment I unlocked it, I was like, "I'm out, losers. This is so much fun."
So, if there's one thing I will appreciate about them doing recently anyway, is they're doing the best that they can to learn from a lot of these things. Like I feel like the wild areas were just like RCS light, basically.
Yes, correct. Same.
Except, RCS, you weird time travel dropped into this world by God.
With your arse phone.
Yes, with your arse phone.
RCS gives you an arse phone. Yes, Dave.
Yeah, we've been over this.
Say no more. We understand.
But it's one of those, I always try to reserve my opinions till the actual game comes out. Of course, everyone's going to have those, the split second hot takes.
Yes.
But I think that for me, it's just I'm not hyped, I guess. And maybe it's just because I'm getting older and that's just not the games that I'm really, in for anymore. But it's right now for me, it's like a pass.
I kind of, I understand what you're saying, but when I saw I complain about how much money they make and how little they invest in these games. And it drives me nuts because they could have beautiful games. We have seen beautiful games on the Switch. They do exist. And Arceus either looks incredible or like a soppy mess. There is no in between. It looks like a watercolor painting or a watercolor painting that someone dumped rain on. There's no in between for that game.
I've only seen the second version. I haven't seen the first version.
I know it was terrible. I literally for the recording. I literally showed you that, and it just kept getting more and more stormy, and it just eventually just defeated me. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
I really wish. I would love to see Pokemon on a decent piece of hardware. Whether it's the thing everyone pretty much knows is coming, whatever Switch Pro or whatever they want to call it. Did you see?
That's part of the news. We can segue into that. Did you see where I think it was NVIDIA accidentally outed the new Switch in their code? Is the new rumor that is going around that there's links to a other Switch quote, and Nintendo is like, can we DMCA ourselves? like we gotta shut this up.
Us, but it's technically NVIDIA, I guess. We should really get on that.
Yeah, Nintendo is weird. And in other notes of Nintendo being weird, Nintendo will not have Smash Brothers at EVO this year because Nintendo be weird.
Because apparently they think they can do it better than the people who have been doing it for decades.
Yeah, that's what they think. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I know
it's like EVO's been hosting tournaments since Melee, but I think we've got this.
Do you really think you understand? I know look, we know you're the teacher and you're nurturing it, but we're their parent and we understand more than you. Like,
yeah.
Nah, do you though?
It makes, I just, look, man, this is just going to be something for me it just brings up the feeling of, if someone else is doing it better, let them do it.
Yes.
I mean, well, why does Nintendo insist on shutting everyone else down?
This is
if they're not owned by them, or not, well, actually not even owned by them. If they're not them, apparently just piss off. You're not allowed to be you cannot be in our sandbox. Go somewhere else.
That is how I feel about emulation. their emulation that they charge a premium price for is inferior to free versions. The way that a free market works is if you have a good that you offer, it has to be better than the free option in order to be worth paying for. And the only people who are paying for it are the simpy sucks, and I'm not one of them. I pay for the $20 version. I do not.
I wouldn't go that far.
No,
I would definitely say that it's.
I will not pay.
Nostalgia is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It's like
get that.
We've got like time, magnetism, and nostalgia.
I get that. I literally saw the day that was announced, people going, "I'm not paying for that. That's crazy." And then the day it was actually allowed to be purchased, they're like, "I'm playing Ocarina of Time. It was like shit, but I'm playing it on my Switch." And you're like,
as someone who has played Majora's Mask on every platform it's come out on, no matter how many times it's been re-released, I get it. All right. No. Also, Majora's Mask just released on the Switch.
Yes,
like
it
yesterday.
Did, but
I might be playing it again.
Okay, but do you remember when they released Ocarina of Time on the Switch and all the water textures were jacked? Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
That just got fixed when Majora's Mask got released. That has been jacked up this entire time. Also, at the rate they're going, they are adding one new game per month, which is a terribly slow cycle. They're milking that like a cow.
What else would you expect?
Oh my god!
But for me, it's like
put more than one out.
Dolphin or whatever that's been making the GameCube and all this stuff. Like,
yes.
Why would you sue those people into the ground or whatever? Like keep shutting them down. Why not be like, hey guys, this works. This works really well. Everyone loves it. Work for us. We will pay you to do the thing you're already doing for free.
Did they do something to Dolphin that I didn't hear about?
I think they haven't. They've been shutting down most of the websites it's been hosted on at this point.
So I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that actually. I know that any of the ROM sites I know are getting dunked on by like billions of dollars, but Dolphin itself is an emulator that it emulates the hardware. So you still have to have the software. So you buy your discs and you dump your own ROMs and you do that, I've not heard of them doing anything to Dolphin in particular, because then I feel like they would go after the Mr. Project and a bunch of other stuff like that for other older cores.
I gotcha.
Haven't heard that, but still, Nintendo will not sell you Mother 3, but they sure as hell will sue you if you play it, which is insane to me.
To be honest, that's been Nintendo for as long as I can remember. Is they're more likely to sue you than to recognize that you make a good product and to try and adapt.
Yes,
because I guess Nintendo's going to Nintendo, and Nintendo knows best, no matter what they're actually seeing. It's just like they could see it with their eyes, and I know they're not idiots, but they don't want to look past what. Basically, they don't want to look past their own company. If it's not in Nintendo, then it should be gone.
Yes. Do you remember when the 3DS was notoriously busted wide open in no time with all these loopholes and stuff? People were just taking stuff off the store willy nilly, and they were like, "We'll put out we'll pay you a moderate bounty if you will tell us how to do this. We will pay you." And they're like, "Why would we pay you? We can get stuff for free because apparently you can't figure it out on your own. Why would I ever do that?" And that was wild. But then Microsoft, when the people started doing stuff to them, they hired them. They're like, "Okay, now make sure that never happens again and we'll give you a salary." Like,
there you go.
Cool, great. Solve the problem by having the person who caused it fix the problem so no one else can do it.
It was like when I remember when the Kinect came out, so many people were like adapting that technology for all kinds of different stuff, and it was super interesting. And then Microsoft goes, "Hey, do you want to help us?"
Surgeons I think they still use the Kinect to this day as like a thing so they can do hands-free menu stuff on their monitors without getting having to disinfect again, which is super cool. That's awesome. That's a great case use for that.
And Microsoft didn't see that and go, "We should sue you and shut you down. You shouldn't have this project. Go away."
No.
This isn't a Microsoft, piece of equipment that doesn't have your name doesn't have Microsoft employee under it. So we're gonna have to we're gonna send you letters until you either shut down or we sue you.
Yes.
But
it's just nuts, man. I don't know.
it is. But bringing it back, in this circuitous route we've taken to talking about the new Pokemon, I'm definitely in a wait and see mode. I know it's going to be super hyped. So many people love this series, and I get why. But for me, it's not that I've been disappointed in what I've gotten. The games are great. Maybe it's just not my time anymore.
Sure. My favorite thing is to I wish that I could skip the entire story of the game because I don't care about the story. I want to collect the Pokemon that I like and I want to go hang out with them in like the campsite. I spent so much time on
Pokemon Go.
No, not at all. That's some free to play stuff that gets on my nerves. I want to play like in Sword and Shield. I spent so much time in the campsite cooking curry and playing with toys with my Pokemon that I liked, the 6 that I like. Excuse me. And so I would just sit there and I would go cook more curry so I could get more toys so I could play with more toys from Captain Curry or Curry Master or whatever his name was to play with my Pokemon. It was super cool. That was a great thing. And the more you hung out in there, they liked you more and you got more XP for hanging out in there. And if you cooked them curry, they got XP based on the quality of the curry you cooked. That's the kind of stuff that I enjoy. That's why I like Arceus so much, is because I can go around and it's like, oh, how many times did you feed a Vulpix? Did you feed it 3 times? Boom, boom, boom. That's 3 research marks. Congratulations. Way to go. And you're like, cool. I didn't have to go out there and murder it. Now there is a challenge that's like, kill it with water. And you're like, no, but you could if you wanted to.
Yeah. So are you excited for the game? Do you, because I know you like the Pokemon designs a lot more than I do.
I am very excited for it. I think I can't decide if I want the little fire guy or the duck. The duck is so sassy looking that I think the duck is going to pull me away from Team Grass for the first time. I always end up getting the other ones later, but my starter is always the grass one just because I just really like most of the grass type designs. But I love the sassy little duck, and I am not a big fan of that cat. I won't say I'm not a big fan. I am completely neutral on the cat. The little chili pepper lizard, adorable doofy little guy. The duck, sassy with his hand out like he's like Sailor Moon, like, I'm like, okay, I like you, buddy. You're pretty great. The cat, it's fine. And then here's the thing, because I like the duck, it's going to have the ugliest final evolution you've ever seen, and the cat is going to look incredible.
Now what they're going to do is they're going to steal the character designs for Scrooge McDuck, and that's what the final form is going to be. It's going to be a duck with a cane and a top hat.
Then that's the best Pokemon ever. That's literally the best Pokemon. Thank you for reinforcing my love of the duck Pokemon.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm going to do everything I can to get you away from the grass cat.
Yes.
Because everyone is probably going to be doing the grass cat anyway.
Talking about...
Like, oh my God, it's an adorable kitten. Give it to me. Give it in my face.
Segueing into something else shutting down. Boy, I'm popping these segues. Bam, 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 bam. They're riding down the sidewalk. I'm just pushing them over. But Bethesda.
Why are you pushing things over on the sidewalk?
Because segues, you ride on them, and I'm pushing them out. I'm popping the segues.
I got you, but that's still.
You see, no joke survives. No joke survives the autopsy, and now that we've split it out on the table, it's dead for all to see. The guts are there, and it's gone. Bethesda is dropping its launcher because they have 47 because they have 4 billion launchers now because Microsoft, they have their own storefront. They don't need that launcher. They are keeping the accounts though because on console editions, that is a lot of the way that you deal with your mods and activating mods and stuff is through the Bethesda account. So those will maintain support, but the launcher is going the way of the dodo because why do you need it? You don't need it.
If only EA and
Ubisoft
would learn,
Ubisoft,
and
yes.
Ubisoft would learn, and Epic. Oh, and of course, Rockstar's launcher can go away.
Epic has their own version of Steam, and they give you tons of free stuff.
I don't have their own store. I just wish.
But it's like,
I just don't like having to launch other things to launch things that I already have.
Now that's a thing. Now I have no problem logging on. I have no problem logging on to the Epic Game Store to boot up a game that I got in my library on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah.
No problem whatsoever. Have no problem logging into Steam to boot that up. I don't like when I boot up Steam and click on it and it goes, all right, here's the Paradox launcher. What does that do?
Yeah.
It sends you an email about all our promotions and stuff. You're like, I love Paradox's games. I don't think I need this launcher. Like, oh, Ubisoft, what does it do? It's reading your hard drive to see if you bought the DLC. No, it's not. It's sending me emails. It's all it's doing. It's stealing my information.
For me, I think the worst one is if like, you know, how EA plays on Game Pass, and if you download a game that's an EA game onto your PC from Game Pass, even though you're downloading it from the Microsoft store, you have to go to the EA store and download it again. I'm like, God.
Of course you do. Oh,
I feel like I'm back in 2005.
While we're talking about Steam, here's another one of those segues. Boom, knocked it over in the street. There it is. Get off my sidewalk. The Steam Deck is out, and everyone is using it as, here we go, we'll ring it back around to the emulation. Apparently everybody's using this as like the greatest 60 frames per second like emulation machine of all time.
Yep.
People are using it for all kinds of crazy stuff. I saw Jeff Grubb playing 50 Cent Blood in the Sand on there, which I was like, that's amazing. I want to play that. I have no need to ever play 50 Cent Blood in the Sand again, but boy, everybody keeps mentioning it, and I'm just slowly getting pulled further and further back in to the point where I'll probably end up playing it at some point.
Yeah, to be honest, what'll probably end up happening for me is the new Switch comes out, and when that comes out, I'm like, you know what? I don't need a new Switch. I'm going to buy the newest Steam Deck that's out.
Sure, I get it.
Because for me, I think Nintendo, of course, has the series that everyone wants to play on their Switch. Your Zeldas, your Marios, so on and so forth. And for me, there have been a few games in between that and there, but a lot of times it's like, I'm certainly not going to play a multi-platform game on it.
No.
Excuse me.
No. I get it for like I love the Rune Factory series. I love Stardew Valley. Like, it's a good indie machine if you're not going to play it on Steam. If you're wanting mobile indies, it's not bad for that. Or if you're playing the JRPG stuff like the farm sims and stuff like that don't really need a super powerful machine, that are going to come to the Switch like a year before they come to PC or Xbox or something, then I'll buy it on there, because that's how I'm going to play that and play it for review and get to play it and not be like, well, everybody else is getting to hang out with their elfy waifus and I'm over here sad. Like, I'm just going to buy it and suck it up and have a great time.
But as long as Steam Deck can get control of their control stick drift,
yes,
I think it'll definitely be.
You sneaky,
it's my turn this time.
Oh, you pushed it back at me and I pushed my back down.
as long as these problems get fixed, and with Valve, it probably will. They're usually pretty good about that sort of thing. Don't ask them to make another game, but they'll probably do pretty well on their hardware.
It would appear they have already responded to that and said that it was a regression of an update that caused a larger dead zone than usual, and they fixed it with an update, and that should have fixed it, because apparently an update came out for everybody, because when they launched this thing, it came in hot. It came out and they were like, 20 games can run on this. The next day, 200 games can run on this. Like, they're like literally testing and throwing them out the window. And it's not just like Civ can play on this.
Half-Life 2 for the 18th time.
Right. It's not just like, oh, Civ runs on this. It's like, this porn game made by one guy that's like a porn RPG where you get boobies and ladies and touch them and stuff. That's on the Steam Deck. Enjoy.
That's what I want to see on the bus.
grip the grip and the touchles. We're doing it. Consent.
I can't wait for me to be on a flight and the person in front of me is playing some porn RPG on their Steam Deck.
Oh, that's a Steam Dick, my man.
Can you please go back to playing your Breath of the Wild?
Breath of Exile, you know what I mean? I've been alone for a long time. That's what he's saying. Anyway,
but for me, I think for the Steam Deck, just real quick, because generally I've always had a gaming laptop, because for a long part of my life I was moving around a lot. But I think this may actually be able for me to, or just a roundabout way to actually finally get a quote unquote PC for my house, and then
Sure.
also get a Steam Deck that'll probably get to me in 2024
Sure. I get
as
that.
like the thing that I use for my mobile gaming, because like I said, I think there's a lot more games that I would end up playing on mobily on Steam than I would my Switch, because it's not going to look like crap, and it's going to be able to sustain a frame rate more than 5.
Could you imagine, in your heart of hearts, you're laying in bed, minding your own business, and you're playing, what was that? There's a game that I've been playing lately that's it's an indie game where you run a dog rescue. It's like To the Rescue, something like that. But it's like
I know what you're talking about.
but the developers literally donate money to actual kennels and stuff like that, like the saving of the animals based off of the sales of the game, which is awesome. I was like, okay, I went out and bought it because I heard that, and then found out that it's like a run your own. Save all the doggies, all dogs are great dogs. And I was like, this is a fun game. Laying in bed playing that instead of being stuck to my computer would be awesome.
Also,
Playing
if you want to look
Inscription.
up the name of the game, I would be okay with you doing that, just to make sure they get the credit they deserve.
Playing Inscription. Playing Inscription would be incredible in bed.
Being able to like not worry about that sort of thing. It's just like I can, whatever I'm playing, I can take with me. Because of course, there are games that have come out on like Xbox and PlayStation, like be able to play like, Horizon Zero Dawn mobily, or God of War, that have recently come out on Steam recently. You know what I mean?
Yes. It is called To the Rescue on Steam. Okay. Yes.
Or, being able to play Monster Hunter Rise now that it's on Steam,
and in
the
4K
way that it should be played.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to play that and I want to start it over, but there's so much stuff coming out. I cannot justify the price, even as much as I love Monster Hunter and would totally play it.
Yeah.
I'd also have to plug in a controller because there's no way I'm playing that on mouse and keyboard. I would lose my mind.
I definitely feel like when they release a new Monster Hunter, if Monster Hunter World 2 comes out in the next year or so, that's going to be, our channel is going to be Monster Hunter World channel for a little while.
Yeah. Can you, this year, Sunrise or Sunbreak or whatever it's called. Remember, Rise is getting an expansion.
Yeah. Well, I know Rise is getting an expansion, but I'm saying, and again, probably because it's on the Switch, I'm less likely to play it. Put it on an Xbox, put it on a PlayStation, put it on something that both looks and feels good to my hands. Because for me, I don't know how you feel about the Switch, but it's always feels so small to me, especially playing it in mobile mode.
The Switch, I don't play that game. I don't play that in mobile. Mine It does not leave the dock unless the power is out. I don't do that. That's crazy. That's nonsense. That is I've been traveling a lot lately, so.
Correct,
I get it. I use the Joy-Cons as the Joy-Cons are meant to be. Without the dog head, I hold them one in a hand, no straps on them, none of the extra little fiddly buttons on the side. I just use the Joy-Cons, and then if I'm playing something that I feel like I need to use it, I will plug in my Pro Controller and use the wired Pro Controller, because there are certain games that you just need a joystick that is actually a joystick and is not that little weird Bob mushroom cap nipple.
Yeah. Yes, the mushroom cap nipple. Yes, we didn't need the visual aid. I get it.
That's a mushroom cap nipple, everybody.
That's a joystick, sir.
Potato Kwanzaa. Okay, get off my back. Speaking of, that was weird. And speaking of weird, Silent Hill's domain expired. Konami cared so little.
I'm so annoyed, but it pisses me off and makes me giggle at the same time.
Yeah, they let it expire, and then someone, apparently this happened before, and they bought it back before someone found out, or before someone could afford it. But I guess because we live in this weird crypto money flip universe where someone was like $10,000, and they just bought it, and they put a tweet of the guy who created Pyramid Head going, I wish I hadn't created that damn Pyramid Head. And that's literally what SilentHill.com says until they buy it back, which is absolutely incredible.
And I'm telling you right now, if it were me, I would be like, you can have this domain back once Silent Hills is back in development.
Sure. You know what? Honestly, yes. That game, you cannot play it anymore. I realize people have gone on. I have not played Visage because I thought maybe we'd do content with that at some point. So I've avoided it because I've heard that it's like the spiritual successor that some indie person made based off of being that spooky. And so I just kind of let it happen. Is my camera flickering every now and then? Did you just see that?
Yeah, it happens every.
It's like,
I don't know, every 10 minutes or so.
It's like, yeah, it's like the second time I've seen it. It's just like for a split second. If you're watching on the video, I apologize. I'll figure out what the hell is doing that later. I don't want to stop the recording now. My computer is definitely not chugging in any way. We're blazing on through, but I digress.
We're still standing.
Yeah. Anyway, let's okay, Fortnite minute real quick. Let me just get it out of here. I'm playing as Silk Sonic when I play Fortnite because I love Silk Sonic. I love Bruno Mars, love all that whole thing. That's wonderful. I have a drum pickaxe that says yes loud on it. It's a drum.
Yeah, why not?
On one side it says yes, the other side it says loud. It's fantastic. My lobby music is one of their songs. I have 2 emotes by them, Leave the Door Open and the Skate song, which is, it's so beautiful. But they have added Gambit and Rogue this week in a weird Valentine's Day themed Marvel thing, where it's like Rogue being lifted in the air by Gambit as cards rain down from the heavens and explode, and you can get those skins. And apparently there was a leak, and Ezio, big surprise. We've had Master Chief and Rick and Morty and a billion other people, so it only makes sense that Ezio, of all people, would be the one for the Assassin's Creed Gaming Legends skin. Apparently that has come out.
Still waiting for Marcus Phoenix to come out.
He's already out.
Oh, was he actually in the game, Marcus?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And Kate Diaz. They literally did an event around it where you had to go.
100% forgot about that.
You literally had to go hide behind cover.
So many characters.
Yes. Yeah, that literally was already a thing. You could have if you played on a Series X or Series S when you had the Marcus Phoenix skin, you got a matte black version of Marcus Phoenix's armor exclusive to players who played on that thing, just like Master Chief got a matte black. Sure. And if you played as Kratos on PlayStation 5, you got solid gold armor for Kratos, which also looks hella dope. Yeah, so those are all getting crazy cool stuff. But that is all the news that is not Elden Ring related.
Fortnite minute.
Yeah, that was a Fortnite minute. Just wanted to throw that out there because I thought it was neat. I was like, sure, of course, Ezio, why not? Sure. Well, sure, whatever, man. But
to be honest, I was more for me. It was more excited about the Rogue and Gambit thing than I was for Ezio. Don't get me wrong. Ezio's a cool character.
Ezio's a cool character from a billion years ago. At this point, that whole universe has forgotten
Rogue and Gambit, but.
No, but I'm saying in the Assassin's Creed universe, Ezio has not been a thing for like 12 games.
It feels like it. It definitely feels like it.
When was the last one?
He technically appeared in Assassin's Creed China.
Which one was that? The side-scrolling one?
Yeah, it was one of the side-scroller ones.
The ones that don't count because they were bad? They weren't bad. They weren't bad.
They technically still canon.
They weren't bad. They were very mediocre. They were not bad. They were not something you would lose sleep over. They were just something that you'd be like, I'm not paying full price for this.
Yeah, it's fine. At the end of the day, it's all right.
Correct.
I would. You can go watch the cutscenes with him in it. I mean,
I gotcha.
It's fine.
Because if I remember correctly, the cutscenes weren't actually cutscenes; they were motion graphics. Pretty sure that was a Vita first game or a PSP first game that literally...
Maybe.
I think so. And then Liberation was also one, but that was actually a pretty solid game. They got an HD remake on like PS3 at some point. That was actually
If I'm not mistaken, they actually do have some cutscenes in that.
That's possible.
There's a couple.
I did not play enough. I do not know. That is a hole in my gaming stuff that I don't ever care to go back and fill. There's too much good stuff to waste time on mediocre. But speaking of good stuff... We have saved this little block of news for the last of the news because we are going to be getting into more, I almost said Elden Finger. I might as well call it that because this game has a problem.
They talk about fingers a lot.
Okay, Elden Ring has a finger fetish. I have met a character that is a living giant hand with 2 fingers on it. I have met at least 40 different people or items in the game that are terms that involve fingers. Finger maids. Do you like the finger maidens? I don't know. Do they go to the Finger Lakes on vacation and eat finger sandwiches? Like, goodness gracious. It is like
chicken fingers inside of them.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. It really is just like, wow, finger fetish, nuts. That's crazy. But that's just, I guess, me just saying that's not really news. Is like, I guess it is. Yeah, I'm presenting it.
It's personal news for you.
It's just a lot. The game's
if
incredible.
If you want a glimpse into the mind of Dead Action Jones, there's some news for you.
It's too much finger. Too much finger.
Too much fingering in that game.
Too much fingering in that game. Very much so.
So much.
One of the first mods anybody made for Elden Ring was a pause button because people want to be able to pause that game, and apparently,
I mean, I don't blame them.
I don't blame them.
At least on the Xbox, I can go to the home screen, and that technically pauses it with the quick resume function.
Does it?
Yeah.
If you don't go all the way out of the game, if you like hit the button and bring it up to the snap menu, it won't do it.
Yeah. But if you go into the snap menu and then press home, where it goes back to the menu screen, it'll save it for the quick resume.
Did you see?
I've used a few times.
Fair enough. Did you see where the PS4 version was actually running better than the PS5 version? So everyone was playing the PS4 version on their PS5s to get the best gameplay because the PS5 version was so, like, I don't know if it was a memory leak or what was going on, but it was apparently just hella jank. I believe they're working on it or have fixed that. I know that when it came out on Xbox, I had the bug where I never got to play online for the first 3 days the game was out. I got online
the first day, and then I didn't get online after that until yesterday, when it finally was just like, hey, you can find the server. Like, neat.
Crazy. Moving on to even more weird Elden Ring news. Trolley Gummy Candy Company people made Elden Ring sweet peachy Elden Rings, but they're not selling them, and you can't have them. It's like, I feel like they didn't even make a pack of them. I feel like they just mocked up a package, because I've never seen them laying anywhere. I just keep seeing the one image of the person on the cover of Elden Ring kneeling down on the corner of a bag of peach rings.
Right.
And it says peachy Elden Rings on the side. And they're like, we're not selling these tarnished ones. You can't have them.
I mean, to be honest, I kind of wish they were. It would be it'd be like Gamer Fuel with Halo or whatever.
It would be just what's the difference?
Hey, if you buy peach rings, you get a code in Elden Ring for some runes or something.
You can get some really dumb bracelets that give you gummy wrist bands, and they're dumb. And they weigh way too much, and they're actually useless. But you can have them if you really want them. Do something like that.
I feel like there'd be someone out there that gets diabetes because they eat and use the codes on the Elden Ring peach packs so much.
Yeah, but if you only get one item, then they're not going to give you runes for it. That'd be crazy.
People who play from software games are psychopaths, man. That's all I gotta say.
Hey, moving on to that segue, let me tell you, sir. Someone beats...
I'll set them, you spike them. Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. Knock them off the sidewalk. Knocking them back. Someone, Super Lewis 64, has defeated an Elden Ring boss with the Ring Fit Adventure setup.
There it is.
His motion was controlled by putting the leg strap on with the Joy-Con in it and running in place, and I think that allowed him to move with the stick while he was running. And then he has his attack linked to the pushing in of the ring itself, and his healing was linked to squatting. So he had to do a squat anytime he wanted to get some bestus of the estus. And
what's his name again?
Super Lewis 64.
Super Lewis 64. I respect your hustle, but you are a psychopath.
Amen.
I respect what you did. I really do. But no, that's too much.
It's like the person who played Winston in Overwatch. I forget who that was, a famous streamer, but they played as Winston in Overwatch with a bunch of banana controllers made out of actual bananas.
Yeah. Well, it's just it's one of those things where it's I would get this wouldn't seem as weird if the game had been out for a few months,
sure.
But it's been out for 4 days. And he apparently he got the game, played it. What I think I need a Ring Fit controller to play this.
Well, I mean, so think about it. Everyone's looking for their edge. Everyone's looking for their 15 minutes. People are going to be ravenous for that content right now. So if you can do your viral thing, now's the best time to do it, not 6 months
You're
from
not
now.
wrong.
But that makes you look like a crazy person because you're like, I don't want to enjoy this game. It's wonderful. It's a great generational game. This is real good. They took a thing and built on 20 years ago. It's so good. Kingsfield and stuff, man. It's awesome. You should play it. No. I want Ring Fit. Ring Fit now.
It's probably a good fitness routine to battle bosses with that setup.
I bet it is.
You're doing so many squats.
Boo. Well, you can only do 5 unless you get more golden seeds. You're only doing like 4 or 5 from pretty early on.
Yeah, but those are probably the fastest and most panic squats you've ever done in your life.
Oh yeah, because you're also trying to run in place so you can move backwards while you drink. You're trying to fold yourself up. You're like, yeah, that sounds terrible. I hate that idea.
I would pull a muscle straight away.
I respect that hustle.
Without question.
I respect that hustle, but I hate everything about it. Well, that is...
I'm too fat to play Elden Ring with a Ring Fit controller. I would die.
Me too. That's why I have all this space, is because I'm too heavy for that. Anyway, that's
As the man in the giant reclining chair, I can relate.
One of us is in a nebula, and the other one's in a nebulous chair. It's great. It's wonderful. So good. That's it for the news for this week. No, it's not. There's one last thing I just remembered. It's 2 parts. 1 thing, say it aloud. 1, fuck Bobby Kotick. And 2, thank you, Greg Miller. That was beautiful. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
And the other thing
I appreciate, someone, everyone's been saying it, but someone saying it on a televised event.
Someone saying it to the game industry on a televised event. So good. The other
You're
thing,
just saying what we're all thinking.
Correct. Or saying, but just not in front of a camera. But until now, I guess. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, there you go.
But the thing that I wanted to say is that apparently there is a new lawsuit out against Activision.
Just put it on the pile.
Yeah, but this one is because apparently, I believe it was stockholders. A stockholder is trying to sue them because they said that Activision, the higher ups in Activision, are trying to stack the deck for a payout golden parachute and then leave as soon as they sell. Duh. Of course they are.
Yeah, I don't know why this seems like apparently this is news to this guy and not anyone else on the planet.
They don't want to be there because they're running all the rats and snakes out of the church whenever they sell, right? They're trying to clean that thing out as much as possible.
Also, some of those people looking for the golden parachute are those rats and snakes.
Yes,
I mean
I guarantee
that's probably
you
the bigger chunk of the people looking for that golden parachute.
I guarantee you that one of the people jumping out with a golden parachute will be drinking stolen breast milk. Just saying. That's
yeah, probably. People
are
disgusting and weird.
Yep, that's weird. Speaking of disgusting and weird, let's get back to Elden Ring and talk about something that's a lot more fun than late stage capitalism.
But okay, so what just kind of need to go back to for just a minute. So what does the shareholder actually think they have as far as a case? Just like, hey, these guys are trying to make money before they leave, so I'm suing them to keep them from doing that?
I don't remember the exact terms, but it was something along those lines. I don't remember the exact terms of what the case was because I was flying in here by the seat of my pants grabbing news.
Yeah.
Here at the last second. I saw that as I was looking up. Did Activision do anything else crazy today? And I saw that and was like, oh, that's bad. But also, it's all bad, so maybe it's not as bad as the bad that was bad before. Of course they're getting golden parachutes. Why wouldn't they? Not saying it's right, but I am saying duh.
I mean, the person everyone's saying, everyone's saying fuck Bobby Kotick, and he's probably going to get the biggest payout of any of them
He is
by
supposed to.
far.
He is supposed to get about. I think they said his like minimum is like a 15 mil payout, and he has like almost $1 billion worth of stock that he'll get paid out when he leaves as well.
Ridiculous amounts of money for this person.
Yeah, turns out you can't polish a turd, but apparently you can fill it full of money.
God.
Yeah.
He's definitely the golden turd. That's for sure.
Yeah. I thought that was a former president, but apparently I was wrong. Turns out that was
it's just one of those things that I could get angry about it all day long.
Correct.
But nothing I do is going to change.
Correct. That's and that's why I'm digressing back to creepy, freaky shit in Elden Ring. Let's go. Come on, vamonos.
Yeah. The more we talk about it, the lower you sink into your chair.
I know it's bad. I'm like, I need to get back up here. Like, hold on a second. What is this?
You're like, oh, we're talking about Activision.
Oh God, it's so bad. I love Overwatch.
Why doesn't about it? Why
doesn't Overwatch love me? Anyway, the worst segue of all time.
Absolutely.
I'm digressing for the 18th time. How are you enjoying the game so far? What class have you picked?
The first class I did just as like a get in and get out sort of thing when we first got it.
Sure.
I tried playing Vagabond for a couple hours. That wasn't really the play style that was vibing with me.
Vagabond is the knight, yes?
Yeah, it's the knight character. He starts out with a long sword and a shield and heavy armor.
The most common play style in the game.
Yes. But for me, I've been playing Samurai for probably the past 10, 11 hours now, and I've really been enjoying that. It's a lot quicker of a play style. You do more rolling and less blocking. I mean, he has a shield, but I don't use it.
Also has a bow.
He's got a bow, which is one of the best things where I can just pick off so many enemies before I like go in and try to, do the rest. And also that Uchi Katana is just, oh, I love it. The unsheathed power is amazing and everyone should use it.
I found one of those inside of a cave. So I guess if you were to start as a samurai, you could then dual wield uchi katanas.
That's true. You could.
That would be fun.
But you can't use the unsheath ability unless you're two-handing it.
You don't have to. You're running around like a crazy man with two giant swords.
Yeah, I like that.
You have bypassed that. You are now like, I am the double blade devil daddy. Submit, and then you run at him doing this.
You're not wrong. I just don't know how well for me, that sort of thing, I would be more likely to just be way too aggressive all the time and just get, flattened.
Sure. I will say, as far as aggression goes, I know that a lot of people are like, I like Bloodborne because you can just get up in them guts and get your health back when you lose it.
I mean, you can still do that in Elden Ring.
I like that in Elden Ring, killing a pack of enemies gives you your flask back.
Yeah, that's good. Or one giant will give you your flask back.
Sure. I mean, I guess he's considered a unit, I suppose. But yeah, it's neat that like you don't. The resting points are very common. They're very close together. You'll literally have one on this side of an encounter and this side of an encounter, and in the middle is like a camp, and they literally just let you have so many rest stops and so many, and they're all fast travel points. It's amazing. It's so good.
I definitely appreciate how forgiving the checkpoint system is because I am terrible at these games and I will get murdered constantly in certain areas, and I like that it's not as punishing, especially if I got killed and I had to run in Elden Ring, as big as the world is. If I had to like run back 2 zones away, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not playing this game. I'm not doing it.
Sure.
I lost 8,000 runes and that's so far away. I'm good. Now, I'm gonna play Destiny.
Sure. I have lost a lot of runes in that game, and when I go into a boss room and I don't have enough runes to level up, and I know I'm going back to fight that boss, I just know those runes are gone, and I'm just making progress. I know that's not enough to level me up. I'm not going to worry about stressing out over whether I lose it or not. They're already gone. If I recover them, wonderful. If I don't, they're already gone. It's whatever. And every time you die and go back to pick them back up, you add a little bit more, because as you're making a trip back through, bless you. As you're making your trip through, you are accruing more souls or runes to then add to your pile that you pick up from the boss, which then makes it's higher risk to lose all your runes when you die, and you just keep doing that to where you're like, oh, there's 12,000 runes in this room. I gotta get the hell out of here. You're screwed.
I definitely feel like that fact has kept me from exploring more than I would have normally. Because you find a random like cave or dungeon or whatever, and you're like, I could go in there, but I've got 10,000 runes. I'm like, I'm like, or like I'm only like 1,000 runes from leveling up, so I'm not gonna go in there right now. I'm gonna go grind up, level up, and then try to find my way back, because I don't want to be, a mile deep down in the ground, and then something just pops out and a random mob murders me from like some sort of bullshit, like he hops on me like a spider monkey and stabs me in the face.
Right, I get you. I think that it's very cool that they brought back the mechanic from Dark Souls 2 where darkness is serious.
Yeah.
When you go into a cave, there is a torch weapon you can equip in your offhand. Buy one. It ain't that expensive. It will save your life. Yeah. Because, buy that. Because it will change those caves. Because you might be walking through a pack of 30 wolves and not know they're in there because it's so dark. I walked into a cave, the floor fell out. It turned out the entire cave was filled with rats, and one of them was the size of the cave. And that wasn't the boss. I'm not going to tell you what the boss was. Just know there was a hole full of rats, and it was terrible.
Yeah. There's actually a crafting item you can craft eventually. I don't have the materials for it yet. That's a glowstone that you can place throughout like wherever you're going, and it'll act like little lights.
So I was using those for all of my runs. I was using them very sparingly as I was going through this rat cave because I didn't know about the torch yet. And so I was like, I only have like 6 glowstones, so I'm going to use 2. So I would run as far as I could until I knew I hit a wall, because I could see with the gamma that there was a wall texture there. And then I would throw one down, and then I would be like, oh, I see the blue of the doorway over there. And I would just run straight to the boss door, and it'd be fine. But
this actually brings me to a point I've been wanting to talk about with Elden Ring. Is I appreciate that we're close enough to the release date of this game to where not everything has been recorded and there's not like 8 million wiki articles, because I love having these conversations of the, oh my God, where did you find it? How do I do that? And, people are able to have like this back and forth of like discovery and then telling other people about the things that you find. And I've talked to a few people now about Elden Ring, and like no one has had like the same experience.
Yes.
Everyone's gone off in different directions and has found different stuff. And not everybody, it's generally like with Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, all that type of stuff, everyone's kind of going to have their own a very similar journey.
Like, it's crazy because you will have a similar but very different journey because of a lot of those games have different pronged paths. They're all linear, but they have different pronged paths that you can choose in different orders. And so people will still choose crazy, like some people will be like, I'm going to go to the underwater area in Dark Souls 1 because I hate myself first. You should never go there. Let me just tell you, Dark Souls 1, great game until you get to the end of it, and then once you start having to collect all the Lord Souls, they like ran out of time and money, and it's just literally just dragon asses and lava as far as the eyes can see, and it's terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah, it literally turns into a Mario level.
Yeah, it's not. It's bad. It's not great. It's literally, there's no front half of the dragon. They literally ran out of time and just designed a dragon's back half of a skeletal dragon, and there's literally just 30 of them standing in a line in a field of lava. It's crazy. It's so crazy. One of the enemies in that area looks like a fart cloud with a goblin head. It's very weird. It's so weird. The game, it's a great game until you get to the end, and then it's bad. But it's been crazy because like for our hands-on coverage, if you remember, I
watch the adventures of Nana
the Mana coming in hot and spicy. I found out that first dude, I guess if you don't want to find out, then, maybe skip ahead a little bit. But it's not really a spoiler, but apparently that dude that you meet right when you come out of the tomb, he has a mace made out of bloody roses that he will beat you with a bouquet of roses and will throw blood flies at you, and is apparently really good at blood magic and is terrifying. But if you kill him, you don't get the mace, but you do get to get beat with it while you're trying to kill him. But for our coverage, I decided, you know what? Everybody does a little suicide, like a little kill at all the other NPC run every now and then. So in our coverage, I killed that NPC. We all get a little
crazy sometimes.
I killed that NPC, and then I killed the one that looks like the Shaggy How the Grinch Stole Christmas guy who has like a fishing pole and a glove hand that he plays like a violin. I killed him, and you get a bell that you can give to another vendor later that will increase their inventory with all the items that was from that vendor that you just killed. So basically, if you just want to have all the vendors, if you don't have one super vendor instead of all the vendors, whatever, you can just kill them all and consolidate. You can literally just consolidate.
It's the worst kind of monopoly.
Yes, absolutely. The blood monopoly runs deep. But I also took out that vendor. I took out the dude at the front. I was taking out every NPC I came across. I eventually came across a female character that the game literally registered that I had killed so many NPCs. It literally you can go watch this on the footage, I promise it's there. There is a cylindrical green glowing shield around her that is literally like, you can't even get near this character anymore. Yeah. You're not allowed to touch her, crazy psycho pervert. You can talk to her, but you can't hit her, and we're showing you she literally has armor that you can't break. Like, I was like,
I actually wonder if you go to the round table room, if that lady will hug you, or if she's going to be like, no, you don't deserve it. You don't deserve my love.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do know that like that person has since shown up in the round table room for me in my actual playthrough. I don't know I feel like you're supposed to be recruiting the Knights of the Round or joining them or something. I don't know. The story makes no sense. It's fine. Fingerlings. Fingers. Fingers. Mustache rides and fingers.
Oh, you look like a weird marionette.
Yeah, I'm the weird marionette, not the weird finger orgy guy.
I mean, they know what they're about.
Finger orgies. I just put it out there. But the crazy thing is the summons and stuff are fantastic. I love the summons. I will literally summon my dumb torchbearer guy who walks really slowly towards enemies with a torch, and he just stun locks them by burning them slowly by just walking at them like this. It's so dumb. They are useless, but they're so useful. You would think that 5 really slow dudes with torches, not even all of them have torches, some of them have swords. You would think they would be useless. They're real good. It's stupid how good they are.
This goes back to like what I was talking about earlier. You and I were talking about this off camera. Like you were like, I was like, how do you get like this certain summon? You were like, well, you go to this graveyard. I'm like, oh, so the graveyard with a jellyfish. And you go, the what?
Yeah, no.
Jellyfish. And I was like, yeah, that's where I got this other summon that had like these, because I got the Godric Soldiers summon in the weird jellyfish graveyard. You're like, that is not what I was talking about.
No, I found a church that has I found a church that is possessed by a haunted boatman who just drives around on ground and summons skeletons constantly. And so you just
I've never seen that yet.
You just knock the skeletons down. You knock the skeletons down, and then you run over and slap the guy on the boat a couple times, and then he runs away in the boat. And you chase him down and whoop him again. It's a really dumb boss fight because the only attack he does is he summons skeletons, and he'll raise up the front of the boat and try to drop it on you. Like he tries to pop a wheelie and slam you with it, but you're just like, I'm behind you, idiot. So he's just like, woo, while you're slapping him in the back of the head, and he just drops it back down. And you're like, yeah, that's great, good job. Oh, you good in there, lad. The wolves, by the way. Remember, apparently that person that gives you the first summon, the wolves, apparently she shows up there at night. And the reason that she showed up there for me was because it takes about a day in the game for you to get from the start to that location to where that person was with the jellyfish summon, and then back to where that person was at night. Apparently she's just there at night. It's not that you have to do the whatever. You just have to be there at night and find the glowing blue lady. But how would I have known that? I was like, I got the jellyfish. It showed up. That's clearly confirmation bias. Got to do weird stuff to get it.
Yeah, it's just like, but I appreciate having a game like this where even in a lot of open world games, you'll have, of course, you'll have random stuff that happens, but it's been a long time since I've had different people's stories vary so wildly
Oh yeah.
about what's happened, what they've seen, what they've done. Like, I don't think I've done a quarter of the things other people have talked about. Like,
Or
I haven't seen it, I haven't done it.
yeah,
Yeah.
or even, I'm sorry, what I was going to say is, or even the fact that you will fight the same boss, but because you're playing a different class, you'll have a completely different experience. Like, there are certain bosses that I told you, because I started as the wretch, because I'm a psychopath. Level 1 plus 10 in all stats, butt naked with a club. Let's go.
There you go.
So I was playing that class, and there are certain bosses in those early dungeons that I'm 3-shotting. I'm like, bunk, 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 and I'm done. And you're like, no, I don't do that. I walk around and go, you're just like fucking babbling while you flail your sword. And I'm just like, I'm literally just like in a loincloth with no armor, just going, unga bunga bunk.
I'm living out a Kurosawa movie, and you're over there like, I have gloves.
I'm literally playing bonk on the turbo graphics.
I feel like maybe I should go back and play Sekiro, because maybe I missed my game.
Sekiro is a really, really incredible game. It is fantastic. You have to be super aggressive, and you have to be very, very good at parrying. I got to the ape fight, and that's where I stopped playing that game because I got frustrated. I don't know if you know about the ape fight, but
no,
there's an ape that has a sword in his neck, and he tries to kill you, and you cut his head off with the sword in his neck, and he dies. And then he stands up and he picks up his head in one hand and the sword in the other. And then he commences to go, all right, now the fight really begins. And that was where I ended, because it wasn't fun. I was like, this is rough. This is so rough.
I've tried getting the parrying timing down in Elden Ring, but I can get it like maybe a half the time. A lot of times I just get a sword dropped on my forehead.
The nice thing is that you can get if you hug the lady, you can get that poise blessing. You can activate that, and it puts a shield on you that gives you more poise. So if you're blocking a lot, if you're a big tanky block playstyle where you're like block, ting, 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 block, you can get that and use that and then have that. And it's wonderful for people who are doing that. I'm running around with Guts' sword from Berserk, literally like just going bonk and splitting buildings in half. Like
when I'm rolling around and then slashing at my katana and rolling away again.
When I'm fighting people on my horse, I'm literally dragging the sword behind me while I'm priming the heavy attack in one hand, and then I let go the trigger, and he literally drags it up and goes, ugh, and I'm like, that wouldn't work, but I love it. That's stupid. That wouldn't work. That's not how that would work. You're basically tilling the soil as you run, just dragging the sword behind you.
You're like, I'm making farmland.
Yes. I will salt the earth with your corpse. The game's so good, man. It's great. And there are characters that I have met, and I don't know if there's like a Jolly Cooperation Bros faction. I hope there is. There should be. I know there's a lot of other factions that I have met, but I don't know that I've met Jolly Cooperation. It could be.
A lot of them have been unpleasant to meet.
It's probably the Jolly Fingers. Like, we're the praise the fingers. Finger. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I just can't get over how many fingers are in this game. It's insane. I literally met a character that was 2 fingers on a hand like this, with no other fingers. It's just this. This is a character in that game. It's not a joke.
I feel like you're going to make another character and be like, I am 2 Fingers Johnson.
Yeah.
That is my name.
Yes. And I'm going to put a bandana on him so he can't see. He's going to be 2 Fingers Johnson, no eyes.
What do you need his eyes for? He's got fingers. That's all he needs.
Exactly. Yeah. He's just going to feel. He's just going to go out there. He's just going to go out there and feel it out. Just go out there and get a feel for it. Just get out there. What are you doing, Johnson? Get out there and get a feel for it.
I'm blindfolded. I always use fist weapons.
Boy, howdy. I don't know. It's nuts. That game's incredible. Everybody should play it. Even if you're, I will say this, even if you have never played a Dark Souls game before, I know people are like, oh, to compare it to Breath of the Wild is dumb. But I actually think this game has a more densely populated world with all kinds of neat things to find than Breath of the Wild.
Also, my weapons don't break.
That's
so,
true.
You know,
that's true.
I don't care what anyone says. Weapon degradation is not something anyone asked for or should be happy about.
That's true. I mean, it's tolerable in most games, but it is annoying. But yeah, it's crazy to like literally. You're like, oh, there's guards in this camp. I'm gonna go sneak up on this guy, take him out, summon my wolves, get the jump on him, fight the whole camp. You do that. You loot the stuff around this camp that you found. And then you realize that in one of the buildings in the camp was a staircase with a torch. You follow that down, there's a dungeon down there. But wait, not only that, there's another door somewhere in the same camp, another staircase going down that has a teleport or something. Like there's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
There's
You're
such
like, oh,
crazy.
I got rewards, and it's like, no, how about I teleport you to hell?
But I'm not gonna spoil, but it's so crazy the stuff that can happen. And like you're like, oh, there's flowers over here. I'm gonna pick these flowers. I literally found a spot called like the Storm Hills or something like that, where this dude is not there. When you go out to where these certain flowers are in this field, lightning is striking the flowers. They're fulgur blooms or something like that because lightning is striking them. So they're like literally like lightning strike
I found those
flowers.
I didn't know there was a dude that was supposed to be there.
When you start picking them, this dude comes riding up like a giant fat Mongol on a horse. Like Genghis Khan with a giant sword comes riding up to you and will try to clothesline you while you're picking flowers. He will literally be off on the other side of the bluff, just patrolling, doing his thing. You start picking flowers, he just comes rolling up as fast as he can. I watched him kill goats trying to get to me. By the way, the goats roll? Why? Why do the goats roll?
Oh yeah, they're like Wooloos from Pokemon.
Yeah, to bring that back
Also,
around.
There's the Wooloo cheap, and then there are Rams that just decide that if they see you, they're going to try to kill you. They're just like, I don't care who you are, I'm going to fuck with you. I'm going to come and headbutt your butt. It has annoyed me so many times because I'll be like, I'll just be minding my own business, and this little asshole goes, pop. I'm like, you motherfucker, fuck you. Stupid sheep, fine. I didn't want your bones, but now I do. You're going to become an arrow.
It's choo-choo time. Cover for me.
I didn't know that you had muted yourself for the train. Well, at any rate, it's just like you have been in the round table, and you can respond to this after the train has passed, because fuck train has no brakes. And I was talking about how there was a room literally in the round table room that you apparently just either didn't think about or didn't do what a lot of other people have done, where if you just like jump in, there's like this dude that shows up to like invade you and murder you. And you've been playing for, I don't know, probably longer than I have. And you were like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't think jumping off a balcony into a weird dance hall was a good idea, but apparently you did.
Absolutely.
There are so many blood marks. I looked at that after you said something about it. There are so many blood marks on the floor on that balcony.
Yeah.
And it says like trap ahead. I was like, I'm not jumping. Bump that.
Yeah, for me, it's like I was just trying to explore, and there's a bunch of doors down there, and I'm like, maybe that's more stuff. And then he shows up, and I'm like, that's not what I wanted.
So I actually will be stockpiling all of my gremlin keys, gargoyle keys, goblin gibbledy gobble keys, whatever those things are called.
Keys?
Bone sword keys, the ones you stick in the heads of the little statues. I will be saving all of those for the round table area, because there's a lot of like exclusive gear that you can get in room. There's like a path that like you open this one and it's like a room full of treasure chests with all this loot in there, and then it's like, oh, this one requires 1, and you get all this stuff, and it's like, oh, here's a stack of 2, and you need 2 knives to get in there, and then it's like so on and so forth. There's some crazy stuff
there's
in
a
there. Room
I think opens up after you kill that guy that has I think it's a weapon or something in there.
Interesting. There is a talking about stuff that no one else has done, I actually remembered that there was one of those weird statues back at the very, very, very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And I went back to
I think
where
it needs
they
like
were.
2 or 3 to open, though.
It needs 2. And I went back there and I did that. And in the biggest fuck you fashion that this game could muster, that whole room is filled with traps like an Indiana Jones thing, people trying to murder you like ninjas, and the floor is covered in poison.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah,
that's not
you
fun.
literally have to jump down and then
I can definitely do without that.
sprint across the room as fast as you can before the poison builds up and starts activating the poison, which then like starts killing you.
Good
So
Lord.
that's a good
It's like, oh, you
time.
decided to come back to this door. Well, we will not make it worth your while.
Yeah. I'm not going to say anything else about what's down there. Just know that floor is poison and everything else is really hateful.
Sure.
Everything hates you.
Definitely sounds like From Software.
Everything hates you down there. Also, has anybody listening, I don't know what to do with them. I keep finding gigantic paintings and I keep collecting them, but I don't know what to do with them. I have found 4 of them so far.
I can view. I think you can view them in like a menu or something, but I don't know. Maybe at some point you start decorating the round table.
I don't know. Maybe there's an
maybe,
artist.
Maybe it becomes Mario 64 and you can jump into the painting.
Well, that was the thing in Dark Souls 1 was the painted world was literally a thing you went into. So possibly
maybe they'll do that again.
But what I was thinking is the way there's different factions that require different key items that you find in different side dungeons and stuff that you can bring to them to unlock new abilities and stuff. What if there's an artist dude somewhere that's like, I can teach you crazy summons if you bring me my paintings? I don't know.
There could be.
I have no idea. I just know I have 4 of them and nowhere to put them. Silly.
But yeah, but Witch Queen, I think we might. I think because at least for this Elden Ring, I think is something I've been focusing on a bit more this week than I have Destiny 2.
It's been swapped for me. I've been playing so much Witch Queen. I'm like almost level 30 with that faction that I won't name.
Yeah, I'm. Or for me, I'm really trying to dig in to Elden Ring. I know it's going to be there, and I don't have to worry about FOMO as much as I would with Witch Queen.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right now, for me, it's a type of, I guess it's because I haven't ever beaten a From Software game. I'm trying to give this like my best effort before a bunch more stuff comes out and it has to fall by the wayside.
I get it. I will say that one first boss that is like the first actual challenging boss in the game, that one that was in all the previews for the game and stuff, I still won't name them, but that one, that boss is harder than most bosses in any other FromSoft game for literally no reason. I don't know if they were trying to set the bar, but I've only found one boss since him that was anywhere near as difficult as him, and it was 3 times harder than him. But that boss is insanely difficult. But do not let that sway you from playing the game, because like I said, you can summon other players, you can go do all kinds of stuff, you can go power level, you can bust. The game is actually designed to be busted wide open. If you just want to have fun and see the story without having to, like, if you want a true power trip in a Dark Souls game, play a mage. It's awesome. Every game they add more crazier and crazier spells to where you're literally walking in the room like Merlin, the master of all arcane magic, and you're just like, I'm going to summon 37 meteors. They're all purple and they're going to chase you down. And he's like, I'm going to jump over here. And they're like, we track. It's so fun.
We could ramble on this game for probably another hour or two, but
yeah, it's super fun. Just go play that game. Go play Witch Queen. Go play. There's lots. It's never been a better time to play video games. They're all so wonderful.
Watch our stuff. Watch our Sucker for Love videos that are coming out.
Go watch us
our dives into Destiny 2 and Elden Ring.
Absolutely. Please watch the content. We love you. We
also
love,
watch
we love
more
making
of these
the
videos.
content. Watch the podcast. This is the first one. Kind of hard to watch more than one, but hey, they'll be there for you. You can watch them. They'll be coming out.
Continue watching these.
They will come out on Wednesday. I am Dead Action Jones, and at Dead Action Jones on Twitter. He is.
I am Joe Zombie, and I am Joe Zombie with a 3 on the end on Twitter.
There you go. And that is a train, and it is leaving the station. And on that note, we love your faces. Life is demanding. We're all here, and I'm glad you're still standing. Have a wonderful night. Bye.